Basically, of course, we've been talking about housing in this country for a very long time, and its proportions, I was tempted to start talking about its proportions in a word that begins with G. But these days, it has an extremely political connotation and somehow has been taken out of our lexicon. So I'll let that go and talk about the issues that we deal with. In fact, we've been told that we need a minimum of about 1 million homes or so in the short term, very quickly, to really diffuse some of the problems that we have with housing in this country. Of course, one house takes care of a number of people, sometimes a number of families, and you can multiply that by 1 million and it will resolve the issues. But basically, there are issues around housing for many. That rent is so much. People have to pay rent, and come the end of the month, they're just thinking of how to really put money together to pay the next one. I know a friend who tells me that he actually takes a loan from the bank to pay his rent annually, and is thinking of ways to get out. I'm sure this program is for him because I've already sent him a text to watch, and he will not be the same after this show. The basic reason is that the Habitat Fair is here again. We have had 2 editions already. The Multi-TV's Habitat Fair number 3, or season 3 if you like, is about to begin. We'll get to know the date and all the participating organizations. Of course, DevTraco cannot be taken out of this. We know what it is doing to ease our pain. And HFC, how do you get a mortgage if you don't go to HFC? So definitely we'll be dealing with those matters here. And of course, our man from in-house, McBen Edward Samoa, Sales and Marketing Manager, is on the show as well to tell us what it's all about. And that's from the far end of the table, you get to see him first. In the middle, a lady who shares a common name with me somewhere in there, and I will explain to you if we have the opportunity why that is so. Emily Clegg-Lamte is head of mortgage, HFC Bank. It's good to see you, Emily.
See you too.
And close to me, a man who's making a second time appearance to discuss housing, Anthony Safo. He's Director of Corporate Affairs and Marketing at DevTraco Limited. It's good to see you again, Johnny.
Happy to be here.
Let me begin with you, McBen. Basically, Habitat Fair 2012. It's a 3rd one coming already.
Yeah.
What happened with the first 2, and why should we really look forward to the 3rd one?
Well, the objective of Habitat Fair, to start with, is to provide pragmatic housing solution. And we did the first one 2 years ago.
Right.
And based on the success of it, we also realized that there was still some, other things that we needed to, pay attention to.
Okay.
So the second one came up. We opened it further, at the National Theatre, and the success of it, now you realize that the awareness of owning a home, where to get information, where to get, source financing, the options to choose from, either to build or to buy and all that.
Okay.
It's created some kind of awareness that people are now willing than ever to get more information.
Okay.
And based on that, there's been requests by stakeholders to also expand it. And so the 3rd edition is going to be even bigger and now relocated to a bigger place.
Okay, great. So I'm sure you give us those details as we move along. But let me go to Emily and ask you. You deal with financing people's dreams, so to speak, to own houses. What's the general outlook like? Do we have more people who are making such applications these days? Is it reducing? What's the picture like?
I think generally more people are demanding houses because you find that the middle class is increasing, is expanding.
Okay.
So obviously people want to live on their own, and there are obviously certain issues, but I would say that the demand is great, and we need to do what we have to do in terms of the demand and supply side to meet that demand. So that is something that we need to look at. Yeah.
So Tony, let's talk about DevTraco a bit. Introductory comments for everybody. What has it been? You were here the last time we spoke about it, general terms. You were part of the other one, the second one, I believe. Here's the 3rd one coming. You have a reason for coming, and I'll find out why. But what do you make of the market generally within this 1 year period? What really has happened?
Probably I need to start off with how the last year's fair impacted on our business.
Okay.
I told McGren it was an immediate, had an immediate impact. Business is good. Sales are coming in. More importantly, we are increasingly creating happier communities. But I think that there are a number of factors. But of course, the last year's fair was a big part of that.
Was a big part of that. So, McBen, what really is there anything different about this year's fair I mean, I'm sure there were people who came for the first one, came for the second one. You have new participants for sure. What were the numbers like? What are your expectations? What's going to be different?
Well, as we started, when you mentioned Habitat Fair, basically people were thinking of buying the home, how to buy the home and all that. But then we also realized that once you buy, there's a need to maintain, and even improve the value. Now, apart from that, other needs, home needs, things that you need in the house. So it is not just buying the home or just getting the finance and then that's it. There are others who also would say that I want to build. How do I go about it and all that? Expanding it this year, we are even getting supplies in electric appliances, fittings, furnishing, and all that. Now, last year, some of these people came, but then we realized that some people came in because they are already constructing their own homes, and they needed certain things for the finishing, lighting systems and all that. Okay. So this year, we are opening it up to bring in more of those people, and also emphasizing on the financing bit, because we still, after the Habitat Fair, there were several other shows that we did that we still realized that there were more questions on the financing option. Now, even some people still think that mortgage is for those who are already rich or people who can afford the mortgage. They don't know that once you earn a decent income or you have a monthly, salary or proof of, income, you can access a mortgage. Now, these are things that we want to emphasize more on that. In the last week or so, there's been several other, housing fairs.
Right.
But then what makes Habitat Fair 2012 different is the emphasis on starting it, getting it right, then for kind of information you need, and then the decisions that you make, and even moving beyond just acquiring the home, but making investments in the sector as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emily, financing definitely, as McBain says, is a very critical issue. Many people don't even know they are capable of doing what you have to offer. What really do you have to say on that for those who are watching? What goes into it? When you mention HFC, when you talk about financing, you talk about a mortgage, what really is it? Because I've also heard people, sometimes you are surprised that it's coming from them, that people who you'd ordinarily assume would have the answers, who say that no, the mortgage means tying my hands into a kind of a prison bond for the rest of my life for a very long time, and actually leaves me worse off than if I had attempted to use some other means. How do you diffuse that kind of a misconception?
Well, I would say that once you pay rent, you are eligible to buy a house. And the issue is that, like you said, somebody would have to put together money, borrow money to pay rent over a 2-year period.
Sure.
Now, after that 2-year period, the value for the rental is really gone with the, leaving the house if you have to move to another house.
That's
You
right.
then go for another advance payment and continue doing this. Now, we are saying that instead of paying rent, looking at the property that suits you, you can actually take a mortgage, pay over a period, and own it. Okay. So in a sense, you're paying rent to own your house at the end of it. And we think that that gives you much better value than just, postponing. It's something that people keep postponing. Now, a mortgage is really taking financing to buy a property and giving the property as collateral for the house until payment is made. And then the house, is yours. Now, whilst you're paying this mortgage, you actually live in the house. And nobody is going to come to you with any issues of ownership.
Okay.
It's just that the bank also has a charge over the property until you finish paying.
Okay.
So once you're paying rent, you are eligible.
So
now the issue is which type of house.
Okay.
I think that those are the things that you talked about. The dream, there's the reality.
Right.
Where do we start from? Where do you end?
And that's a good point to deal with, because I can assure you that we'll have a text message on this show that will say, I earn X amount of money. Am I also eligible to do this? Every time we discuss these topics, we get messages like that.
Okay.
Is there an income bracket? And I'm staying with you, Emily. Is that income bracket that makes one qualify to really, be a part of such opportunities that you speak about? Or really, as some argue, perhaps only 5 to 10% of all Ghanaians are within this bracket? Is this a view that you really do share?
I would say that I wouldn't pin it down to an income bracket as such. I would say that it's the type of house you're looking at.
Okay.
Because obviously, if you look for a simple one-bedroom house to start with, you might not have to put in so much as you would if you were looking at a 4-bedroom house. So I would say most incomes can enable you qualify for a house, but
Right.
it depends upon what you're looking at.
Okay.
Now, we advise that start small. You can start with a 1-bedroom house, expandable. You are able to get your space. As your circumstances improve, you're able to expand that house to suit your family size and so on. So the thing is, some can go up high, some can start low, and the thing is to start small. We also have a collaboration with government, and that's for public servants, you know, and we deal with a certain category of public servants, and they can take a loan of up to 30,000 Ghana cedis to buy a house.
All right.
Now, if they get a house within that price range, then they can take 100% of the amount to buy that house. And the interest rate is much lower because it's subsidized.
All right.
So with public servants, there is this, you know, package for them. For others, we would say, look at the type of house, look at how much you can afford. You can pay about, let's say, 30 to 35% of your income as mortgage payments. We look at how much that can afford and what property you can get.
You can get. Anthony, investment opportunities and benefits of real estate is a question I must definitely come to you, because it's your area, it's your terrain, you deal with it. For some, they just see it as, well, someone else is in their business, and then perhaps all I can get is that I can buy a house if I can afford it, or if I qualify and HFC is happy with me, I can get it. But really, beyond that, are there any further benefits for someone who wants to forage into this territory and then perhaps own or do some business in it? What are the opportunities available in this real estate area?
When you invest in bonds, you are looking for the income yield from the interest rate that is paid by the bonds.
Sure.
When you invest in stocks, for example, you're looking at the appreciation, and then if you're lucky, the company pays dividends, you get that.
Right.
Now, if you invest in real estate, you're getting value appreciation of the property. You're getting rental income. You could also use it as for equity loans. And really, if you invest in real estate, inflation is actually your friend, because the inflation that pushes the construction inputs, prices of them high, also raises your rent, and therefore your rental income. At DevTrack, over the past 4 years, we have properties that have appreciated 88% over the 4-year period, so averagely 22%. On the average, if you take all our products, all our properties, we have an average annual value appreciation of 17%. And that is just value appreciation.
Okay.
That's separate from rental yield. So I usually tell, especially young people, that this is your best investment vehicle. You could actually get a full return in 3 years, 3.5 years, 4 years.
But just throw a little more light on the value appreciation and rental yield. I can put my mind to it. That if you rent it, you have some income from it, and the cost of your house perhaps will go up. And then if you are to sell it or whatever, get a higher benefit out of it. But really, in real terms, is it something that we can really put our finger on and say that's the fact? Because how many people really will be selling off the house if they are really buying it? It may be a prospective benefit you may get, but is it realistic? Is it something that people will do? And most people will live in it anyway.
Yes. We build in clusters. So you have 150 homes, fenced, gated, and then you build another one, probably 120 homes, gated.
Okay.
I have some clients who buy a property in each cluster.
Wow.
Just for investments.
Okay. Just for investment?
Just for investment.
A property in each cluster. I see. And that's where the question of how many of us belong to this so-called this secular or exclusive group, because really, how many people can buy a property of yours?
You don't really need
cluster?
to be the kind of person that would buy in each cluster. But like Emily said,
yes.
If you pay rent, then you qualify. If you have money to pay rent, then you have money to pay mortgage. There are people that buy homes.
I can get it, but this is for the benefit of our viewers.
Yeah.
There are so many people who think they are better off paying rent. There's so many people
Maybe
who think they are because
better, but
because and I'm sure McBen could also throw in because I know he has quite a lot of experience in these matters. Because really, McBen, how many people are paying rent? Look at all the young executives you know, young people you know, out of university people you know. Almost all the people I know, maybe 70 to 80% of them are paying rent. They think it's easier. Some complain about the stresses involved. Some are even afraid to take an HIV/AIDS test to qualify for a mortgage and things like that. There are issues.
No, I think that basically, I mean, just like you mentioned, some are even, you know, just because you have to go for HIV test, you are scared.
Right.
Everything that you want to do, you want to do some calculations about risk and all that, fear and all
Right.
that. But it basically comes back to the level of information available to you. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you have, for somebody who says, I want to live in an area like maybe a Regimano or Deftraco community whatsoever, what happens is you are paying rent not less than 200 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Now, work it back. That person will be earning in the region of about 800 Ghana cedis a month.
Right.
Now, 800 Ghana cedi a month can guarantee you a mortgage.
I mean, is that correct?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
For a 30,000,
Okay.
housing unit.
Realistic question right there. How many houses cost 30,000? I don't know if they have 30,000 Ghana cedi houses at Deftraco.
Currently, the Deftraco
we have $35,000.
Dollar?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But there are several others. You see, again, when you are a university graduate and
Yes.
you just start working, where the value appreciates fast is, for example, the housing, the estates or the development is somewhere around Dawenya.
Okay.
It's quite remote from Accra. But coming from Dawenya to Accra to your office, you can get vehicle, transport
Sure.
to your place. Now, in 5 years' time, when the community is developed, it adds value to your house. Now, you don't have to be, a university graduate who wants your first house and you want to go and live, let's say, around Downsuman, Sakomono Estate, whatsoever. Where can I get an affordable home? Okay. And then the next thing is, if I go and live there, my cost of living in that area, including transport and all that, comes into play. If there's access to transport and to social amenities, water, electricity, hospital, and clinics, whatever, it gives you, the opportunity. You go and buy it, and then the next time is adding value. Now, the next point is, after the 2-bedroom house, of course, the family size is still small because you either be single or you just got married.
Right.
1, 2, 3 children, and then you want to move into a higher place. Now, the investment opportunity comes with the fact that, now, even if you buy a land somewhere and you said, I want to build my mansion instead of buying it,
Yes.
but it will cost me about 300,000 Ghana cedis to build it. But currently, I have 30,000 to start. You invest the 30,000 in a 2-bedroom unit, okay, which will keep giving you the value, as Tony said. Now, by the time you are ready, you have value appreciation on the house. You can sell it and then get the cash. You can again talk to HFC you get equity on your housing, and so you can really create wealth by owning the first 2-bedroom or even a single.
Remortgaging and all of those things are
Exactly.
available. And again, you may even rent it and use the proceeds from that rent to actually pay the mortgage for the house that you want to do and all that. And I'll also I'm sure people also like to know. Some say, okay, I already started building my own house, because an economist was telling me that if we were to get a quantum sense of the amount of capital that is locked up in construction that is not completed in Ghana, you'll be shocked that we have that kind of money in Ghana. We'll not be going outside to look for loans. But then started discussing the Habitat Fair 2012, and of course, running a clinic for you on housing, how to make it happen. McBen, so really, how does the Habitat Fair contribute to really bringing some solution to all the problems you encounter in the housing industry? How does a fair like this help in any way?
Basically, I'll answer the question by saying that what has Multi-TV got to do with Habitat Fair?
Okay.
I mean, what we said our minds to do is to enrich the lives of our audience. Now, we make satellite television real to people. Now, people can afford to have satellite dishes on their homes.
Right.
The next thing is for them to own and also make investment, create wealth in housing. We have clients in the sector, the housing sector, like HFC, like Deftraco, and a host of others. How do we bring these clients of ours together on a platform to now deliver those clients the services to our audience? And so whilst enriching their lives, we also do business with these clients. Now we create a platform and bring these people together to interact. Okay. So at the end of the day, what HFC is looking for will be the customers or the audience that we are generating. Now, when we create that platform, it's just serves as a one-stop shop. So you don't need to go around looking for information scattered all over the place. You walk into Habitat Fair, and you are talking to the bank, you are talking to the developer, you are talking to the other services that you can have, even if you are constructing your own house. What the things that you need, the suppliers are there. So it's just one-stop shop. Again, there's also interactivity between the exhibitors and even the other stakeholders who are there. So immediately, DevTraco is able to reach a deal with HFC Bank with respect to the fact that, okay, we are developing a new community at Community 25, and it's $25,000.
Right.
Now, there are a number of people who want to buy the home. They don't know documentation, even level of education, literacy.
Right.
So immediately, the two businesses proactively come together and say that, okay, these are the people that are enlisted at the fair. Now they are ready to buy a house. All we need is to give them the outline, the criteria, and then that's it. We deliver the service. They may not even have to go individually to the bank, go and make your inquiries, and go to the DevTraco and go and make. I mean, the two businesses can come together and then provide a solution to all these people.
Right, that's great. So, like you said, we say all the time in Ghana, one-stop shop. Everything is there for you all at once. Location of industries, so everything is there. You can get a bank, you can get a house, you can get information, you can get all of that. Are people able to broker deals there, real and practical there? I mean, for HFC, are you able to deal with people during the term of this Habitat Fair for people to really get to start to process everything, or they just have to come and ask you questions and then come to your office and look for where you are and start from there?
Certainly, we are able to broker deals. I mean, if you come there and you're ready to fill a form, complete a form, you can be assisted to fill the form. And it also helps having the developers there, because then you can make a choice by going around, look at the price ranges that are available, make a choice as to what you want, then come in, check on what you can qualify for, what you have, and so on. So at that one place, like you said, the one-stop shop, you can actually get something done, get an offer letter from a developer, get your forms filled, and actually get the process started. So that's a good place where we can get things done, know. And if, like you said, you have a property which is uncompleted, sitting there, we do have a home completion loan, mortgage loan, and obviously we can tell you what the requirements are, and you can then, come get some money to complete your home.
Maybe you can tell us a little more about what that will do, because trust me, in Ghana, just drive out Accra to motorway and look left. And how many houses have been there for the past 10 years? Some, even when I was in secondary school, they are still there, but they've moved beyond what they used to be, moving at snail's pace all over the place. I'm sure so many people just don't have the information that you are able to help them. Many think that it just means going to get a 2-bedroom house in a gated community. That's when you go to HFC. They don't know that you have a house. And I'm telling you, I've had a discussion with some people who say, oh, are you serious? Are you sure? Last time we had a Habitat Fair, and we had a discussion with, I've forgotten his name, from HFC. Charles Bonsu. Absolutely. He brought these issues up, and there were some people in my office who were speaking about this, lawyers, and they're like, oh, really? But that house that I've just done, the floor I've just done, can I also get help with it? They were surprised. As far as they're concerned, you have to want a DevTraco house to go to HFC. And so how does that work?
What happens is that obviously if you're building your own house, you must own the land. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges that people have. You must own the land. If we do a search, it must be registered in your name. Once it's registered in your name, you have a building permit, you have a building plan, you've built up to a point. And normally we say the lintel level, because instead of the commitment that you would, or the contribution that you would have to make in cash, in this case, you have put it in kind in terms of the property that is sitting down. We do evaluation of the property and then have bills of quantities in respect of what you need to complete that property. Now you can take a loan on the bills of quantities, what it stipulates, depending upon your income and your age. So that can be done. We can look at what the value of what is there, what needs to be added to complete, and the aim is actually to enable you complete the house. So that's possible. But I
Great.
think the hurdle is the land, ownership
Ownership of the land in our society.
in our society. Yes.
Anthony, who are you seeking to attract during this fair, DevTraco? What are you targeting?
Obviously, people that want to buy homes.
Yes. What bracket?
Last, middle income mainly.
Middle income.
Yes, middle income mainly.
And that's
Last-
what type of houses? 2, 3 bedroom?
2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, semi-detached and detached.
Okay.
We are very excited about this fair. Last year we paid for a stand, and this year we've gotten involved much more because of the benefits we had from last year.
Wow.
They were direct, they were immediate, they were good.
Absolutely, I see. So really, what will people get from you when they come to the fair, DevTraco? Because really, you become the ringing name in housing these days. I'm sure many people will come to you and say, "Okay, so what are you showing us? What do you have, DevTraco?"
Thank you. We are focusing on what we are doing with lifestyle and investment. So we have been singing a lot for quite some time about our communal facilities. Fortunately, in just 2 months, we are starting the construction of those facilities. And so we'll be talking about the benefits that people could get from living in a community with all of those facilities. Would also be advising mainly young people about investment benefits. The fact that people do not need to get to 55 to want to now start getting a home for retirement, that you could get a home in your 30s, start getting investment benefits now, and still have a home to lay your head at when you retire.
I see. That's interesting. People need to know about that. But really, Magbon, do you think that the cost of housing is something that can be helped? Because I'm sure people will be asking a lot of questions at the fair. People are at liberty to find out whatever they want to know. I'm sure some people will be complaining about the cost, especially in the moment where the dollar has decided to take a free run, so to speak, unrestrained, unfettered. Some will say it's always priced in USD. We earn our salaries in Ghana cedis most of the time. What's the issue about cost?
I think basically it comes with, there are several factors which some we can control, some you cannot, even the developers or the financing people, because the financing comes with interest. The developers also buy materials and so, but then to the end user, it's the decision of where to which house, and also your level of income. Because, for example, if you decide that you want to go and buy a 3-bedroom house to occupy in only one, your costs will be high, obviously. Because even though you are making some form of investment, your repayment will be high.
Sure.
Because you are not really optimizing the home. You go for a 2-bedroom to start with, or even a single room to start with, and then develop from there. Aside that, it's also how the industry play together to reduce cost. Because if one can decide that I want to do integration, backward or forward integration. For example, the bigger firms will decide that we want to invest also in equipment that will help us construct roads. We want to do our own fast floors, our blocks and all that. On the other hand, is also working together with another firm to really expand your economies of scale to bring the pricing down. And also the role that the government will also play in terms of taxes, in terms of even supporting, for example, GASM and other, manufacturing companies who are directly involved in real estate, steel companies and all that, iron rods and all those things. So the taxes, the more you tax them, the more they also increase the final price to the end user and all that. So there's really, I think that basically if the government also pays attention to, the sector by investing in it, it brings the prices down.
Okay.
It's basically issues of demand and supply as well.
I'm sure this text message is aimed at Emily, without a doubt. It's from Santiago. His question is, can I contribute 200 Ghana cedis a month and own a home from you? It's from Wumpuni. Okay, and then Wumpuni in Tamale says, so this is 2 in 1. I work and earn an income of 4,000 Ghana cedis take home. Could I go in for a 3-bedroom house? What are the processes and procedures involved? So 1, 200 Ghana cedis. Second one, he earns 4,000. What are the procedures?
200 Ghana cedis. It would depend upon the type of house you're looking at.
Okay.
So, like I told you, if the person is a public servant, then they can take a house because people pay, 20-30% of their income, sometimes lower than 200.
Okay.
But then what happens is that you step it up over the years.
All right.
And with the public sector, the interest rate actually on it for this year, it's the 3 months T-bill rate plus 1.
Okay.
And that is about 10.6 for this year. 10.6% because it is subsidized by government. I mean, that's how much government can do, if it has an input in the field.
And it is CD rated?
It is CD rated.
Okay.
It is CD rated. So if the person is a public servant, they can, inquire about this, and it's possible for them to access the house under this particular package.
Okay.
Now, with the 4,000, yes, they can, definitely. I mean, 4,000 is a good income to buy a house with.
Okay.
They can look at the type of houses. Now, I think the issue is that we all start with a dream, 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom. Sometimes we might have to come down to 2-bedroom.
All right.
Just because you're looking at your general budget,
All right.
because you're paying the mortgage alongside other expenses.
Sure.
And therefore, it should be such that it does not stretch you too much. So the tendency probably is to look at a 2-bedroom, which is expandable. Of course,
Okay.
it might depend. I'm sure Deftraco can give us prices. You can find 2-bedrooms which are $35,000. You can have 40,000 Ghana cedis. There is 35,000 Ghana cedis, but it depends upon the location. So as you come nearer into the center of Accra, obviously the houses are extremely expensive.
Sure.
But as you go outer to the outskirts, then it gets slightly cheaper. And as Mark Ben says, in certain new areas, if you get in there, it might be far, it might not be too developed, but you are in there.
You need to be
by the
investment-minded.
time it is developed, the value of your house would have gone up so much. You can take an equity out of that house to start building another one,
Sure.
an equity to do another thing. So you see, having a house becomes a way by which you can create wealth for yourself.
Right.
And once you get a second house, you start taking rent from that second house, and what happens? You meet many expenses and are able to perhaps get into a third house. By the time you're old, you probably will have your cloth over your shoulder collecting rent from your various properties.
Great, but the bit about the processes involved, I'm sure someone is really
The
interested.
processes is you probably have to see the house you like first, or you think you can take in, and then get an offer letter from the developer, because that's like a contract you enter with.
All right.
And then you come to us. You probably would have made an inquiry as to how much you can qualify for. We are looking at your income and your age to qualify you. Now, we say that if you are up to 40 years, your retiring age is around 60.
Right.
So you have 20 years to go. So you can take a loan with a loan of up to 20 years
Okay.
term.
All right.
Or so it can go from 10, 15, depending upon how old you are. 50 will go for 10. Of course, for certain professionals, they can go for longer because we see that they work for a longer period. So after you've come in, you fill a form. You submit your pay slips and obviously your age and so on, and your statement, just to confirm the income you're getting. We will do a pre-approval, and once we approve it, you get a facility letter which stipulates conditions that you're supposed to fulfill.
Okay.
And that it consists of closing costs and certain insurances and so on,
Okay.
which cover the house.
All right.
After you've fulfilled everything, the developer hands over the documents to us. Once it's in place, we've done a search. They're giving you a good title. We disperse to the developer, and really, you move into your house.
So the medical bit is just HIV/AIDS.
I wouldn't say, because it doesn't completely come under
People
us.
are scared to do that test.
Actually, it is insurance.
Okay.
It is basically
insurance.
it is insurance. And what it does is that the hazard, we have two. We have the fire insurance, which actually covers the house in terms of disasters and any hazardous, natural disasters.
Sure.
So if something happens, you can make a claim on that. And then the mortgage protection is actually, or stroke life, actually, in a sense, covers the balance. So what happens is that we renew the insurance on the balance for the year. And if anything happens to you, really, the insurance company pays. So you see, much as you might be running away from it, it is
Right.
protection. Your family then can, you know, live in the house without any problem.
It's in your own interest.
It is in your own interest.
Let's take a
Yes.
commercial break at this stage. When we come back, Anthony, I'll begin the next segment with you and ask you if someone wants a house today, is DevTraco in the position to give them a house, or he has to join a long queue, because DevTraco is the hottest thing in town today. Talking about housing generally and how you can benefit from it, mortgage, housing, and all the information that you need. And of course, stop paying rent. Think of owning your own house. It's the best way to go. But Tony, DevTraco, have houses available for people, or they have to join a queue?
We have invested in some equipment. So hopefully sometime next year, we're actually going to have housing stock. So we'll have houses, and then people can buy them once they're ready with the money.
Okay.
But as it stands now, we sell off plan. So it would take between 12 and 14 months to build a house. If you're paying by yourself, you give us a certain percentage deposit, and then when we get to the roof level, you add some. When we complete, you pay the rest.
Okay.
Or you go to Emily, who would ask you to pay a certain initial deposit to us,
What percentage will that be?
20% most of the time.
Okay.
And then when we've completed, she would now give us the balance, and then she would now give you the house.
Okay.
It's only when they have given you the house that they would now start taking money from you, the repayment. So
Oh, okay. I see that may actually be advantageous to some people, that they have a 12, 14 month period to actually think of sorting these things out, because again, it may also be difficult for someone to just put it down and say, this is what I'm paying for immediately, and then just let it go.
And what's even more advantageous is that because they would give you the house before they start taking the money away,
Yes.
you can rent the house, you can, and then you would use part of it or most of it to pay your repay your mortgage.
Okay, which may be the smart way to go. But really, tell us about DevTraco a bit. Let me just give you this one. Tell us about DevTraco. We see adverts of DevTraco on TV and all. You talk about gated community of a special kind and all of that. What really are you offering that sets you apart from the rest?
It is McBain mentioned vertical integration. We try to keep our prices down. So we have invested over a period back into the business. So we own our own roofing factory. We have our own frames factory, concrete products, carpentry. We use as few middlemen as possible, so we can keep our prices down. That's one. Then there's the promise of the communal facilities we are building. We call it a master plan community, because when we start the construction of the facilities this year, we are going to be putting up a shopping mall, a clubhouse, a school from creche to junior high school, police station, name them. You might want to, because we are social animals, leave the community and go out, but you won't really, it's because you want to. You won't need to go out. We also think, although people have questioned it, that our location is strategic. I live in Adenta, and when I leave Adenta at 6 a.m., I get to High Street around 8:15. If you left 25 at 6 a.m., you get to High Street around 7:45, earlier than I would do. You have even easier access to Tema than I would even dream about. Beyond that, you come back home to a serene environment.
Okay.
So you put all of these things together, and I think that has contributed to how high the value of our properties have been appreciating.
Okay. So people should come and look for the DevTraco stand, and you get all the information. You can get a house of high quality for yourself. But HFC has competition in the market. Why should anybody choose you?
Because we are number one. We've been in the business since 1991, and we started as a mortgage financing company. We've built expertise for so many years, I mean, over 20 years, and we've catered to so many people. We've catered to all kinds of segments, low, high, middle, you know, we're there. We've built quite a lot of experience over the years, and therefore I think that we can be trusted.
Okay.
We can be trusted because we've moved from, you know, mortgage financing right into banking. And mortgage financing is still a core part of the business. And we're still, you know, in the business of giving financing. And so far, I don't think that anybody can say we've, you know, we probably have a few things, challenges here and there.
All right.
Yes, land issues and so
How
on.
long does an application take ordinarily?
I think that to get your approval, which tells you that we're ready to give you the loan, it can take anything between 5 and 10 business days, depending upon whether once you've submitted everything, it can take that, amount of time. And then you get your facility letter, and the ball then is in your court. It is how quickly you fulfill the conditions.
Okay.
And then once we get the documentation, really, it can be disbursed. But we find that one of the things is the delivery of houses. Because we do not have stock of houses, sometimes it takes quite a while to deliver a particular house. And the capacity also is not that big in the, in the country. So it's slow. It's a very slow and grinding process. So maybe those are some of the things that might make it a long process to get you your house. But once everything is okay, it shouldn't
take you a few days. I'll give you an essay question, which is the venue, your target. Someone will say, oh, wow, we also like to be a part of it, because you say you're inviting people who are generally in the construction area. Someone will say, okay, we do roofing, we also like to be there. We do tiling, we also like to be there, and all of that. How much will it cost a person to get a stand, so to speak, and all? That's your essay question. Start writing.
Well, it costs some small contribution, which is negotiable.
Oh, okay.
And it's happening from 22nd of June to 24th of June at the Accra International Conference.
So I have my birthday champagne on the first day.
Exactly.
All right.
And what else do you ask? Well, for the target, it's for the prospective homeowner, the homeowner who wants to make investments in real estate. It's for the person who wants to get resources to maintain his home, from painting, electricals, landscaping, everything home.
Okay.
Appliances, and there's even power protection.
Wow.
Getting clean power into your home, electricity, in terms of fluctuation and all that. There are suppliers that manages all these things. So there's everything housing, everything construction, everything property, landed property, and there's even land, those who come and sell land.
Wow.
And in terms of documentation, building, getting it right, Institute of Architects will be there to educate people on, architecture, where to build, where not to build, and all that. Yeah.
Great. And are there any partners you'd like to mention?
This year we are privileged to have partners. As usual, HFC is partnering us. It's actually presenting Habitat for 2012. HFC is doing that.
Wow.
Deftraco is with us, Duraplus, Clean Power, and a host of others. As we speak, we have about 50 stores already gone. And so it's really running very fast.
So you can state the date again and the venue again. Somebody probably missed it.
The date is June 22nd or 22 to June 24.
So 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the setup is from Thursday afternoon.
All right.
So we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. And the venue again is?
Accra International Conference Center.
Accra International Conference Center is the venue. Tahiru Alhassan, I'm not a government worker. How can I build a house? Oh, is house building merely for government workers? Who can take that in 10 seconds?
You can look for an affordable, a cheap house to buy.
Okay.
There are houses in the market, so you can. Building will take quite some time.
Okay. When is the Habitat Fair? Just headed to June 22 to June 24. And what is the cheapest one-bedroom house I can get? What must be your minimum contribution to the mortgage? Okay, those are very good questions. What's the percentage of your income or whatever that should be the minimum you can contribute?
Normally we look
maximum?
at up to 20% minimum contribution.
Okay.
We are actually looking at, and we will be coming out with it, in terms of getting some form of insurance cover for the down payment, so that individuals who qualify for certain amounts can take the full amount as loans.
Okay.
So we will come out with it at the right time, so that it gives one the possibility of taking all you qualify for to buy a house.
All your houses are in Accra. Do I have a chance if I want a house in Paga, my hometown?
Actually, we do cater for all the regional centers and any economically viable areas. So if Paga is economically viable, why not?
Why not? Now, this is a good practical question.
Okay.
I'm working in Ho, and if I want to get a house, what should I do? I want to rent a bed sitter for 2 years, which will cost me 1,680 Ghana cedis. Am I better off dealing with you? Tell me something. Okay, so this is someone who wants to be convinced that he's. So this is what I was saying. Most people just have a mindset of,
Okay.
let me just pay the rent and be free. 1,680 is what he'll be paying for a bed sitter.
Okay.
Both a bedroom and
For-
a living room put together. 1,680. He's asking, is he better off really taking a mortgage?
If that bed sitter is okay for him for the moment,
Yes.
I mean, taking a mortgage with this might be a bit, difficult. The challenge will be to look for the type of house that will suit him.
Okay.
He's looking at a bed sitter now.
Right.
He can look at a one-bedroom house, which has some land around it.
Okay.
And look at buying that kind of property. And we could look at what is in the market for him. I mean, it ranges from 30,000 Ghana cedis up.
Okay.
So 35,000 cedis Ghana cedi. And
Okay.
that's that is payment for over a period of 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nanaya Nkumasi says, I think we should consider the interest on the mortgage. It's the best option for low and medium income earners. Okay, she thinks it's the best, but then the interest for her is an issue. Perhaps we should be taking a look at that. But we have to go. Our time is already up. But of course, I'll give you final words in this one before we go. Anthony, what will be your parting words?
I think that for beyond the people that want to buy homes, if for the players in the industry, I think that we have benefited from the Habitat Fair. We were there just last year, and we had immediate benefits. I'd encourage other people in the industry to be there, and then I also ask prospective home buyers, and then those that want mortgage financing to also come to the fair.
Emily.
We will be there, and we will answer all your questions. You can close a deal if you want to, so come over and ask all the questions you have. We've got to demystify some of the, perceptions that people have.
The final word is yours.
I think I'll just say thank you to our, partners, HFC Bank, Deftraco Limited, Noble Realty, Dura Plus Clean Power, and our sister, radio stations for supporting us. And of course, the PM Express has been a great partner. As far as Habitat Fair is concerned, we always get it launched on this show.